I have a routine, and that is every morning I come in here, I set up my studio, I switch on my PCs, I do speed checks on the internet, I run CC cleaner on the PCs. There is an overnight cleaner as well, but I double check everything, all my cloud, all that kind of stuff. So once communications are in place, it's time to sit down in the green chair over there. And I take myself 10-15 minutes of Zen. I certainly recommend you do too. It's like just let it all go. But the craziest things come into my mind. And I suppose because I'm hurtling towards a certain age at the moment, my mind strays back to the past. I'm talking about 1984, when I was a young, callow boy broadcaster in a notorious station called Radio Dublin, but it was a hard-held station as well. It was notorious for reasons people in the industry know about. I didn't know about back then, I have to be honest, although I had inklings. To me, it was just, to get the foot in the door to doing what I wanted to do all my life, but never ended up doing. But so I was there, and it was the usual thing, stick manning on the air, and late at night, graveyard shift. It's cheaper than employing a security guard. It's good for his ego. Let him open the telephone lines and have a call-in show, which I did. And to be fair now, I'd start my show at about 10 in the evening and go into, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, talk about cutting your teeth. So, all kinds of everything. A motley crew, would phone into the programme. You had people that were out of their head on smack. There was a big problem in Dublin at the time, so you'd have to kind of filter those. Then there were people that were lonely, all the lonely people, and there are so many of them out there, really lonely people, and you had to watch those because some of them were very kind of fragile and, edgy, and you had to be careful because some really were not in a good place. And of course you had your taxi drivers telling you the latest stories from the road. Hi to the passengers in the back. And housewives sometimes. Then you'd broken-hearted people or people who were loved up. Oh yeah, I can't explain to you what it's like. Okay, maybe there's not a lot of people listening, but it is you, and you certainly have a select audience at that hour of night. And there's a connection. I don't know if you've ever seen there's an album called Nightfly. I can't remember, it'll come to me. Who was it? You could see him there in the studio. It's all black and white, but in the ether, people are coming at you. And out of the blue, I remember it must have been about 2:30 a.m, 3 o'clock. This guy phones, and for once he wasn't, some of the people I would talk to were pretty incoherent, or they weren't the most educated. But this guy he had his act together, he was clear, he was measured. In the words of 10cc, he was always in control. He related a story to me about how all his life, up until maybe a decade prior, had been one of the life of a drug addict. He lived for his hit, and that's all that mattered. And he would lie in doorways, piss his pants, go to soup kitchens, get in fights. He lost all his family, he lost his self-esteem, and all the other panoply of stuff that goes along with that. More so than anything, the unforgivable thing is he wasted, in his mind, decades. He wasted time. But he had his road to Damascus moment, and at some point he reached a turning point. Sitting on a park bench, and he just decided, look, I have skills, I have an education, I'm going to find my way out of this morass. And he did, with great aplomb, and he became, in his own words, listen, I don't want to say who I am, but I'm quite a successful businessman and have been now for a long time. And he must have been, because he was at his desk at 2:30 in the morning. God knows what he was doing. It was pre-internet. He was probably doing his books or his invoicing or whatever, or ordering his minions about. He said to me, Mark, this is a great time in my life. He said, I've just told you all the shit stuff that went down. Let me just tell you what I'm doing now. I'm reclining in my leather chair and I'm admiring a load of plants that I have in my office. I have lots of flowers, plants, cacti, and I'm absorbed in their beauty. And it wasn't a druggy trip thing. It was, he was taking it all in. And how many of us just stop to be in the now? Because now is where life is. And now it sounds like I'm lecturing, so I'm going to put an end to this. My point is, he was seeing magic in the mundane. And so will you, if you just take time to seek it out. Have a great weekend. Bye.